Hello and welcome to our second podcast. My name is Natalie Kimball. I am Vice President of Strategic Accounts at Shiji, and I am so excited to welcome our guest. This is Sarah-Anne Tissot, and she is an icon. I know this makes you uncomfortable, Sarah, but you're going to have to get over it. Sarah has been around, we will not say how long, but long enough to talk about green screens and the old stuff and how things used to be. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, Natalie.
So excited to have you here. So excited. So before we get,
to be here.
Yay! I got her, you guys. Okay, so before we get into all the things, guys, today we're going to talk about connectivity styles. So what that means is pull, push. You hear this all the time in hospitality technology. So let's talk about it. And we will tell you, before we get into telling you why Sarah is the most incredible person to talk about this, we're going to do a little this or that to get to know her just a little bit better. Now, I am overly competitive, Sarah, so I have also recorded my answers to what I think you are going to answer. So
Okay.
It'll be a question of how well I do actually know you. Okay, we'll start easy. Still or sparkling water?
Still, for sure.
Beach or mountains?
Both.
Of course you say that. That was my start. No, you got to pick one, man.
Mountains.
I love the thought behind it. That's why you're so amazing. Plan it or wing it. So like, have a plan or just play it by ear.
Oh, no plan.
Nature or city?
Nature.
Ah! Okay. Yay! I missed only the still. I thought you would go bubbly.
No. I don't. I go bubble if it's champagne.
Yes.
These are the only bubbles I drink. I don't even drink Cokes or anything.
Interesting. Okay, so
I'm
you
a no
save the
bubble
carbon.
girl.
Okay, so you save the carbonation for the important liquids.
Exactly.
I love
Exactly.
it. As a true French woman should, right?
Of course.
Notice I didn't say champagne or sparkling wine because I know the answer
Yeah,
to
right.
that.
Because if you had said that, I would have probably picked champagne.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Sarah-Anne has been, and when I say around, guys, you know, our industry is quite young. So there aren't that many of us who've been doing this 2 decades that really are still around and still kind of working in the space. So in a case like that, where you're going in and working with a customer back in the early days, and you're saying, hey, we're going to be able to optimize the way that you're sending your ARI, your availability rates and inventory. We're going to kind of collect it all. I kind of think about it like merchandising. People always say, what do you do? How does it work? And I'm like, do you think you just go on Amazon and you can get the right shirt, color, size, the delivery options? All of those things don't happen through AI. Like some of them might, but like somebody has to actually, yeah, exactly. So the drone hasn't come to the door yet, but somebody has to physically identify what the size is, what the measurements are, what the color is. And that is what our technology does. So if you kind of take back a little bit and say, going in early on and the way that the GDSs were designed, the switch was created off of that functionality, which today we call pull.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Back then, we also kind of referred to it as seamless.
Exactly. At the time, yes, it was true seamless, because we didn't remember that initially what is called disco now, but what was formerly the switch, was created by the joint venture of 17 largest hotel chain. And reason that was, it was exactly to address what you've stated, because they were really struggling. Okay, we know we need to work with these guys, the airline system, because this is going to generate, there's a lot of potential behind it. But each one of us is working on different CRSs. And we don't want to be a tech company. We are not a tech
Right.
company. We are a hotel chain. So let's join forces and create something that can speak to the GDS and connect to all our various systems. So what a switch was initially doing was just a kind of big machine that translates messages into a comprehensive format that could be understood by the four GDSs.
There you go.
Now, we ended up calling that connection pool
Okay.
and a seamless connection,
Okay.
seamless as in real time.
Okay.
Now, that was before internet happened.
Exactly. So let's really quick define. So the way that I have always kind of defined pull is the idea that a consumer, it could be a travel agent, it can be whoever it is, a human or a machine or a GDS agent has to request a specific date, location, city,
Yeah.
right? So like New York, here's my date range. And what they're doing is they're going in and they're pulling that back.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So
It's
that's what
you
I
go
think is
into the system of the provider you're
exactly.
interested into to shop whatever it is that you need.
Exactly. Okay, so
And
let's
in
say
the
those
early
seven.
days, it was all they were doing. They were not keeping their own database. They were not. It was really true seamless in the sense that what is going to be returned back to the customer is what was in the CRS.
That's
That was
brilliant.
back in the old days. It
Okay.
has changed dramatically since.
Okay, so I want to make sure that for anybody listening that they're really clear on why we got to because we'll our next conversation we'll topic we'll hit on is push and why you keep hearing people kind of say talk about the two interchangeably and they're not. So what's
Yeah.
important to understand is there were these 17 global corporations who said we need a way to be able to speak to the GDS. GDS then
Yes.
said we will create a data warehouse. Is that fair enough to say?
It's not it's a translator.
Translator. Okay, so we will create a translator that will allow all these 17 different companies to speak to these four companies because they were the only ones booking business, guys. Unless you were calling on a phone or walking up to the front of the hotel to book a reservation, this was the way that everything was processing. We're talking 70s, 80s, okay?
Yeah.
So all of this was built. It was a seamless environment to be able to get the rate. Now, would it also do the avail? So it's doing an avail check. Would it
It was
also
doing
book
everything.
everything?
Everything.
Great. So this system, as it was just now defined in the simplest terms I've heard Sarah-Anne say it, it was amazing, right? So it's being able to get an access and shop from one system and then book. So the
Yeah,
reason it
because
was
remember at the time, the GDSs were still a blue screen.
exactly
There weren't any images and all of that.
correct.
So at that time, we did not have the major issue we're experiencing with the static content, the descriptive content, the images,
Exactly.
the virtual tour, and all of that. So it was just about supporting what we referred to at the time as dynamic messaging.
There we go. So that is where this whole industry starts to get a little broken because
Yeah,
exactly what Sarah just said. It was here is a hotel name and it was usually in a couple of cryptic letters. Here is an
yeah.
address. Here's a date range. It's either going to be $200 or $5,000 because it would pull back every single room that was available and it might have an F for a fitness center. It might have a for an alarm clock. I mean, the level of content being served back was nominal. So what then happened was more components were added into that ARI message, and the message got bigger. Now, take us to how we got to push, because if we're in this pull environment, we only have four GDSs. It works great.
It was perfect.
And then what
Up
happened?
until the point, and again, here I have a little bit of an history that not everyone might be aware of, but at the time, it is my strong belief that or more than a belief, actually, Pegasus was the first company in the world to process the an electronic transaction on the internet. And
Oh,
that was
that's cool.
I remember that day at the time we were in the Q offices where we
Oh,
even had champagne and all of that because
oh,
we had
that's so cool.
launched the very first hotel website that was able to process a transaction, a hotel transaction.
I love
And
that.
initially there were many websites about hotels, but you couldn't book. You
Right.
couldn't enable the transaction. So when we looked into this, what we quickly realized is because the website were displaying images, logo, and so on, we needed an additional component on top in addition to the switch itself in order to make it work. And funnily enough, at that time, one of my dear colleagues called D. Thomas, who has
Oh, I remember.
recently
Yes.
who has recently rejoined Sendine.
No, she hasn't.
Yes, so I'm working back with her,
Welcome back, Dee.
who is our vice president for the CRSs
Oh, that's
at
great.
Design. So at Design, what we called at the time the ODD,
Yeah.
Online
Oh,
Distribution
online
Database.
distribution database. Yes.
And
Because we
the
had.
purpose of the ODD was to address that missing component to enable to process a hotel reservation.
Yep. And I can
And
tell
so
you to
later
this
on,
day, I think the ODD and I want to say PNG, it was the Pegasus uh, Pegasus. There was a Pegasus code identifier when I was at Orbitz. Those still
yeah,
existed. We still talked about
Pegasus,
ODD.
the Pegasus Net Rate program,
That's it.
I
That's
think it
it.
was. We tried all of
PRN.
that.
Oh my gosh. Ah, see, you
We
guys, I
tried
told you,
all
Sarah-Anne knows everything, and we're going to have to do a whole nother history. We could go on because I love the whole idea of why are we in this place today? So we're almost out of time. I told you it goes
Oh
fast.
yeah,
So
sorry, sorry.
so let's kind of just end it
Yeah.
by talking about how we got to push because I love the
Okay,
idea that
how we get
if
to push is
how do we get to
because
push?
because of the consumer behavior. Because with internet, the end customer doesn't just want to book a hotel; he wants to look and then he wants to book. And what this resulted in is that generating very very high traffic, eating and crashing all CRSs
So you
because of
just
the behavior of the customer.
and so you just mentioned another term. I think it's really important for people to
Look to
hear.
book.
You got it. So say it one more time.
Look to book is uh, a, a a consumer is going to look many properties before he can consider and picking one to book. So
Exactly.
what this means is that in a poll environment, you're going to be receiving thousands, millions, hundreds of millions of requests a minute.
Exactly.
And as a CRS provider, this creates a lot of issue because for one, that means you need to update or adjust your infrastructure, your server, the number of servers. You're going to have to cope with the traffic, which comes with very high costs.
Yep. And
So
all in time, keeping in mind that now hotels at this stage that we're talking about right now, with the increased volume on the look to book, or some will just say LTB, or there's a lot of different,
yeah,
but look to book ratio is a term you will hear. The importance
yes,
for that is that at this time, hotels started to go, hang on a second, I want this direct. This is when brand.com became a more familiar term because hotels were going, why am I supporting this immense number of shopping requests? They're just or sorry, excuse me, looking. They're just looking and looking and looking and nothing's converting. So that is where we enter push.
the push model. The push model where the
So what
logic
changes
is,
in that?
it's the opposite way around, whereby at the CRS provider, as opposed to waiting for the distributor to ask, you're going to push out. And he's going to
Exactly.
store this in his own database so that the end customer can shop within his environment so that it protects all CRSs. And then you're going to apply this both model. Now, you also have the hybrid model, which is a mix of both. Because one
Exactly.
of the issues is that the pull model, as per previously explained, generate an issue in coping with the traffic. The pull model. The push model, on the other side, generate another layer of issues, which is to be able to make sure that you're not going to end up with an inaccurate inventory where your customers are going to search, and when they're going to want to perform the transactions, it's not going to be, the room is not going to be available, and is going to result in an overbook. So
Exactly.
that's another layer of issue. Now, from an integration perspective, to integrate in pool model is very easy because you have very little logic to include. In
Exactly.
a push model, you do have it is a little bit more complex because you need to define, okay, on what parameters, how do I want to push, do I want this to be instant, do I want this to be event driven, and so on. And so that's how we came up, because there's pros and cons on each
Yep.
side of the equation,
Absolutely.
with an hybrid model to
Right.
optimize the integration. Because at the end of the day, what matters is the response time, speed to market, because the
That's right.
customer, 1 nanosecond matters to retain a customer. If you don't respond after 1 second, you're dead. You lose the
That's right.
customer. As well as, of course, the cost acquisition of the customer. So for all those reasons, we needed to optimize that, and we came up with the hybrid model, which is a mix of event-driven APIs where you combine push and pull. So, for example, in order to manage your rate and inventory, you're going to remain on push.
Yep.
To manage the reservation delivery, you're going to be on pull,
Right.
but with hybrid, double hybrid model here, where you will receive push notifications just to avoid the previous situation I had explained, where you don't want to end up overbooking your property. So you still want to receive notifications from the vendor, because sometimes 2 minutes is what it takes to process a reservation.
Exactly.
So the inventory may not
That's
be
right.
available any longer. So
So I
that's why you
think,
have.
well, and what I think that's really important that I hope everyone kind of can hear and understand is that technology is always going to, let me say it this way: the need of the consumer and the party booking the reservation, it's going to evolve. The need for technologists is to make those evolutions and changes with what the hoteliers need. So I think that that's, when we start to look at how did we get here, and what does the future have in store, who knows? We'll find out when we find out. But the good news is, when you've got people who understand, why have we come to where we are today? What are we trying to solve for our customers? And then how do we continue to evolve? That is what this whole thing is. So if you get in a conversation with someone and they start going off the rails about, is it pull, is it push, is it hybrid, know that from a technical standpoint or from a commercial relationship, not really important. From a technical standpoint, you've got product teams and you've got people who can, Sarah and I have been doing this long enough. We can kind of, she knows it way better than I ever will, but we can
Oh,
go, well, yeah, we can go into those conversations, but, really trust your product teams and know that from a commercial standpoint, it's important to know how much server capacity you're using. If you are in a pull environment, what does that mean for your tech stack? But really, what it comes down to, I think, is that making sure the hotels have a correct rate, and that when they go to book that rate, it's available. So that's
yeah.
really what all of this technology kind of is in the background. So, Sarah-Anne, is there anything that, taking the 26 years, jumbling them into 30 seconds, is there anything that kind of has resonated with you, that has helped you, when you talk to new, you've got a new executive who comes in and they're like, I had one that started from banking, and he was like, explain distribution. I was like, crap. Where do I begin? So if you have somebody who's outside the industry, who you're trying to kind of educate on what is distribution, do you have a snippet that you share that's worked?
No,
Yeah.
my parents still don't
Right.
understand what I do.
Me too. Me too. Mine don't either.
But
So
that's, you know what? That's what I like in this industry. That's why this industry
I
really
love it.
is passionate in me, because it changes all the time. And it sounds weird because sometimes when you tell to people, "Oh, I work in the hotel industry, in the tech, on the tech side of things," they're like, "Oh, that's, that must be really boring." It is
Exactly.
absolutely not. It changes all the time. It is so complex. You have to, I mean, the one things I will say that if you work in that industry, be curious. Be curious.
Ah,
Embrace changes, more importantly. If you have those two components, this industry is good for you, will fit you. It will be good.
you
But
just gave me
that's
the heebie-jeebies, my friend, because that is the same passion I share as well, which is why we started this whole thing. Because I think it's important for people who are new in the industry to hear from those of us who've been around for a minute. Say, yeah, there is no one answer. There is no. This is this is my phone. This is my mouse. This is my. There is no. This is distribution. So what we're going to continue to do is hopefully educate you, give you some more confidence when you're having those conversations. I have a feeling I might ask you back again, my friend, because I feel like we iceberged this and we did the very top, and there's a whole nother bunch of stuff underneath it. So I just want to sincerely
a
thank
pleasure.
you. I really
Thank
am
you,
glad you were
Natalie.
here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Join us next time, guys. Join us as we launch new episodes every month. We look forward to seeing you there.